Hi, welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles, and on this edition of Oxford News, Oxford takes their school back, and one girl's courage inspires others. All that and more on this edition of Oxford News This Week. After nearly 2 months and with some gratitude from Principal Steve Wolf, Oxford High School students returned to the high school this week. Last week, Wolf addressed the return, thanking the entire community and told students the Wildcats are reclaiming their school. Wolf said there are still many mental, ongoing health resources available for the students, stating addressing the physical and emotional state of Oxford Wildcats is top priority to the district. Jim?
And also good news, Kylie Osagi walked down the crowded hallway to claps, cheers from the nurses and the staff as she was discharged from the inpatient rehabilitation at St. Joe Mercy Hospital. Earlier this month, the 17-year-old Kylie suffered, again, gunshot wounds to the chest on that November 30th shooting at Oxford High School. The other 6 hospitalized victims were all released in December. Initially in critical condition, Kylie underwent multiple surgeries before she was moved out of the intensive care unit in early December. Over the next month, physical therapists helped her regain her strength and ability to walk. 1 month after the shooting, at home on her treadmill, Kylie joined runners and walkers nationwide who were challenged to put 4 miles in, one for every student who had lost their life. She walked 500 feet each for Madison Baldwin, Hannah St. Juliana, Tate Meir, and Justin Schilling. She said her motivation outweighed her plan, and members of the Oxford High School, she was a member of the Oxford High School equestrian team and tennis team, and a 4-H member as well. Kylie is admired for her strength and her courage. Terry?
Earlier this month, 4 Oakland County Sheriff deputies answered 2 calls from Lake Villa residents who witnessed a 21-year-old Oxford resident shoot between 10 and 14 gunshots. It appeared the man went through 2 magazines of ammunition as several bullets, casings, and unspent rounds were found around the man's porch. 2 handguns, a rifle, and nearly 40 rounds of spent and unspent ammunition were taken from the scene. The suspect was released at the scene and was issued a ticket for reckless dischargement of a firearm. Jim?
Thanks to the volunteers at the Northeast Oakland Historical Museum, they showcase in the Oxford Township Hall, now containing an eye-catching display featuring an eclectic assortment of vintage toys and games. Last week, the museum volunteers Drew Holt, Sue Bassardi, and Catherine Fox filled the space with Tinker toys, comic books, toy vehicles, dolls, beach toys, building blocks, a classic Ouija board, a marionette, and other items. Make sure to stop by the township office. They're located at 300 Dunlop Road to check it out. The office is open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. The dedicated volunteers who maintain the Northeast Oakland Historical Museum have graciously agreed to create a new Oxford history display at the Township Hall every 3 months. And for that, we thank them again. They are located at 1 North Washington Street in downtown Oxford. The Northeast Oakland Historical Museum is open to the public from 1 to 4 p.m. on Thursdays and Saturdays. To learn more about the museum, feel free to log on their website. It's oxford-museum.org, or contact them at 248-628-8413. Terry?
In order to avoid endorsing a political statement, the Village of Oxford Council removed a vote on a resolution which would declare the week of February 1st through the 7th as National Gun Violence Survivors Week. In the Village that would happen in the village. Village President Kelsey Cook asked council to allow a deeper look into the language of the resolution to ensure the village is not being used as a platform to discuss gun control. In other village news, the council approved the first reading of the rental registration ordinance. The ordinance aims to help first responders to appropriately gauge how many renters and rooms are in a building in case of an emergency. There's no fee to register, however, failing to do so will cost the owners in fines. Jim?
Well, if you want to know what's going on at the Oxford Parks and Rec, Oxford Township Parks and Rec website was redesigned late last year. The move comes from the original site host, IT Right, which moved away from the website hosting, shifting that responsibility to Shoemaker Technology Group, the STG. STG reached out to Oxford Township Parks and Rec over the summer, eventually redesigning the entire website. STG's redesign is not as much a complete overhaul, but more of a refresh. Through the front page has several new features. One of them more prominent additions is the calendar near the bottom of the page, showing off all the month events, senior events, and senior travel days. The process of updating the website was a hassle-free, and Smith says they have had no issues updating the site after it went live back in early December. Again, the website, if you'd like more information, it's OXParkrec, OXPARKREC.org. Check it out when you can. With that, Dave Kenny will be back. I'll have a sports story, and Terry and I will close it out on this edition of Oxford News This Week. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from Automotive News. In our first story, Ford Motor Company is recalling nearly 200,000 older model cars because of a potential separated brake pedal bumper, according to recent NHTSA documents. The malfunction could cause the brake lights to illuminate continuously, confusing other drivers on the road, according to NHTSA's report. Ford is recalling certain Fusion and Lincoln MKZ sedans from the 2014 to 2015 model years and certain 2015 Mustangs, with potentially 199,085 vehicles affected. The malfunction could also lead to drivers in automatic transmission vehicles being able to shift out of park without using the brake. This can increase the likelihood of a vehicle rollaway and a risk of an injury. The vehicles were all sold or registered throughout the southern U.S. or in Hawaii, as exposure to high temperature and humidity can cause the brake pedal bumper to corrode. Owners of the vehicles are expected to receive letters notifying them of the recall on March 3rd, and Ford dealers will replace the brake pedal bumpers and clutch pedal bumpers free of charge. In our next story, Toyota has added a new top-end trim for its redesigned 2022 Tundra full-size pickup in an attempt to jump into the luxury truck market that had previously eluded it. The Tundra capstone will feature a bevy of standard equipment and luxury flourishes, including 22-inch chrome wheels, chrome grille, side mirror caps, and tailgate inserts, automated running boards, a moonroof, and leather trim seats to complement its walnut-accented interior. In fact, the only non-standard equipment on the Tundra's new Halo trim level is an optional towing package, a spokesman confirmed. The Toyota Tundra capstone will come standard with the pickup's new iForce Max Hybrid powertrain, tuned to provide 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque, which will also be available on other Tundra trim levels. Toyota has not yet released the fuel economy ratings of the hybrid, however. The Tundra capstone's cabin will be the only trim in the lineup to feature acoustic glass on its windscreen and front doors to further limit exterior sound, the brand said. The 14-inch touchscreen and newly developed Toyota audio multimedia system will also come standard on the trim, though the trim level will only be available with a Crew Max cab and a 5.5-foot bed. The bed will come standard with a power step as well as to ease access. The capstone comes standard with a Toyota Safety Sense 2.5, the brand's suite of driver assistant features, and the cockpit features a 10-inch integrated color head-up display. Toyota did not increase pricing for the capstone trim, which is expected to begin arriving in the U.S. showrooms in the spring, a spokesman said. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back.
Do you love local sports? Whether it's Oxford High School or Parks and Rec, you can buy copies of each game. To purchase your copy, call us at 248-628-9658 or give us an email at manager@occtv.org or talk to us at the next game. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Back with you on Oxford News this week. Again, Oxford sports should be getting back underway. We'll be covering a lot of that in the next few weeks and months ahead. John O'Leary, longtime Detroit DJ, will be honored this weekend coming up to his radio career. Also, he served as the voice of Oxford hockey for years. Proceeds from the event will benefit the Oxford Strong campaign, a fundraiser set up to help the victims of the school shooting and their families. A student opened fire, obviously, on the 30th. We know that story, killing the 4 students. O'Leary, who was 67 when he died, was a fixture in Detroit radio, getting his start at WABX in the 70s. He was also at W4, WLLZ, and WCSX in Detroit, as well as several other stations outside the city. Longtime DJ Doug Podell will host the event. There will be a live tape tributes to O'Leary, a jam session with some music. Again, Mob Opera will close the night. DJs who worked alongside O'Leary and co-workers as well. Throughout the years, again, it's expected to be a pretty good turnout. Tickets are still available. You can make to buy a ticket at $10. It's going to take place at the Token Lounge in Westland. You can log on their website, www.tokenlounge.com. Again, just a reminder, even if you buy a ticket and don't attend the event, all proceeds are coming back to help the families right here in Oxford. I thought it was a very nice gesture. We do miss our friend John O'Leary, obviously, and we are looking forward to that tribute. We'll be back in a moment. Terry and I will be closing the news out shortly on this edition of Oxford News This Week.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Common bottlenose dolphins alter their volume throughout their signature whistles, perhaps as a way to communicate additional information besides just their identity. A signature whistle is a unique combination of sound frequencies, like musical notes, held for specific lengths of time to create a special call that each dolphin uses to identify itself. Created during their infancy, dolphin signature whistles hardly change throughout their lifetimes. But a new study has revealed that the cetaceans vary the amplitude, the volume of their whistles, and that the amplitude pattern changes with nearly every call. This seems a lot like the kind of non-word communication that we humans use based on inflections, like putting certain emphasis in a certain area or how we sort out fade out or fade in so we know it's each other's turn to talk, says Brittany Jones at the National Marine Mammal Foundation in San Diego, California. The findings suggest that the dolphins might be using frequency as an identity stamp and amplitude to convey additional information to each other, says Jones. Scientists have been studying the frequency of signature whistles in bottlenose dolphins for nearly 60 years. But it is more difficult to capture differences in amplitude in underwater animals that are constantly moving around in different directions. Now, improved technology and underwater microphones called hydrophones, along with more advanced sound analysis equipment and a more controlled recording environment, have made it possible to study dolphins' whistle amplitudes with greater accuracy, says Jones. Her team used this technology to record about 50 repetitions of signatures of 8 adult dolphins living in natural seawater enclosures in the San Diego Bay as part of the U.S. Navy Marine Mammal Program. Consistent with previous research, the dolphins all had very set frequency patterns in their unique signature whistles. However, the dolphins' volume patterns changed considerably from whistle to whistle. There was a general tendency for them to increase their volume when they were whistling at a lower frequency. But aside from that, there were no clear amplitude patterns across dolphins or within the whistles from the same dolphin. In each whistle, they made some parts of their call louder and others softer. Jones says she was surprised at first by how variable the amplitude patterns were and initially wondered if they might be random. But then I thought, if the signature is so constant all the time, it makes it hard to communicate different things, sort of like saying the same word over and over again, she says. So maybe this is a new avenue that lets dolphins code additional information. For now, we can only imagine what the volume patterns could mean to other dolphins, if anything. But there are plenty of things these highly social creatures might want to say. Oh gosh, wouldn't they want to be telling each other? Things like location, arousal level, reproductive status, whether there's a predator around. The sky is the limit in terms of what dolphins might communicate about, she says. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
Hi, welcome back to the news desk. I'm Terry Stiles with Jim.
Good to be with you, Terry, again.
I'm
as
so
I say,
glad you're back.
I'm glad you're back, and we're back
Me
together.
too. We will be for a minute. I love that John O'Leary thing. I love that he was a part of us. He too was a victim of violence.
You know, the funny,
Unfortunately.
like I said, the funny, I shouldn't say funny part, but the ironic part about it, I mean, we remember when that happened, it was right around Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and at that point I'm like, God, this has got to be the world's worst thing that can happen. And then obviously,
Just a week or so later.
A week later,
Yeah.
right, and obviously that thing and the violence there, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'd gotten a call from one of the gentlemen that are putting this thing together.
Because
and
you're
they're-
friends with John.
Yeah,
You were
I worked
friends.
with him at CSX. He was also part of this radio station I do now. And the guy goes, I wonder how we could help. And I said, they wanted to help Oxford, okay?
Oh, nice.
And
Very good.
obviously the tie-in, John was a Oxford hockey,
Yeah.
Great broadcaster for hockey.
Sure.
And that's what they
Yeah, I
decided to
remember.
do.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that goes well. You will let us know.
I will.
Also, I hope this week went well for the kids going back to school.
What a challenge. I mean,
Yeah, I think they're brave. I did hear how the open house went, and they braved through it.
Right.
So they're ready, I think. They're
and it was-
ready to
and
get
it
back
was-
to normal,
and
I
it-
think.
And it was also good to hear that Kylie, one of the last
Yeah.
students, got out of the hospital,
Yeah.
and her, what she did, with walking for walking for the other students.
Yeah,
And, I mean,
wow.
it's something we're never going to forget.
Right.
If you say normal, new normal, or whatever it is, it's just, I mean, these kids, I like the approach that the school took. We're taking our school back.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what you guys are doing.
Right.
I tell you, a winning salute out to the parents, a winning salute out to you students, a winning salute to the administrator, a winning salute to Oxford.
Think of it, the kids that are seniors this year, they didn't have a normal junior year
Nope.
or a normal sophomore year, and now they've gone through a lot. What heroes they are, those students, that they got back up and they're ready to go back to school.
And I'm going to say it right here, right now, Terry, and you and I have talked about this, and again, like, we are going to try to highlight here at OCTV the positive stuff that's coming out of this, and obviously, if you want, there's a lot of negative stuff that happened that's being covered by the other media. We are not going to highlight any more of the situation. Again, that other family, which they obviously are in a lot of trouble, and
Yeah, and we're not going to talk about them. We're not going to highlight the pain, because we've all gone through that pain in one way or another.
Right.
It's affected all of us. We've all been victims. I don't know if you remember John Ochins, who used to cover our school
Senior news,
projects.
yeah,
He did My Life, and he also was the school
School reporter, I
resource
remember him
reporter.
doing that, yeah.
He will come, he moved out of the area. He has contacted me. He's also contacted Tim Throne. When the time is right, we will come full circle and document the history of what happened. We have been saving stuff
Obviously, yes.
that we didn't want to go out and get, but
Right.
we're not going to do it right now. We want to celebrate the successes and moving forward.
Exactly, and that's what I mean, and that's what the students did today by walking
Yep.
in that door. And I mean, again, a winning salute
Proud.
out to everybody in this community. A winning salute to the communities around our area, Parkston,
Oh, gosh.
Lake Orion.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh my goodness.
you know, before we tear up here, I think we better close this little puppy out.
Yeah, so if you want to learn more about these stories that we just talked about and others, you can go to our website, occtv.org. You can watch us on Charter Channel 191, AT&T Channel 99. You can go to the Charter Township of Oxford Facebook page where CJ puts a lot of these stories. And then also the Oxford Leader newspaper. You can get to them online or go buy one of those papers. I think that's it for me.
Anyways, you make it a good day. We want to thank Dan Zweiss in the back, putting it all together, making it look good. On behalf of everybody here at Oxford Community Television, Terry Stiles, and myself, we hope you'll join us again next week on Oxford News This Week. Have a great week, safe week, everyone, and once again, a salute to everybody here in this community. Have a good week.
Bye-bye.